o'clock. Let's start it up. Here.
Present. Here.
Ken Jackson.
Here.
John Post.
Here.
Blaze Messenger. Heather Jacobs. Here's Jessica Lamb.
I think so.
Claudia Obazano.
Oh, there's Blaze.
Claudia Obazano.
Claudio's not here.
Joe Pilato.
Present.
Chris
Claudio's not
Archer.
coming?
Ron Rickey. Jack Buckus. Alan Schumann. Selena Kelleher. Catherine Zimmer.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We have. Oh, let's approve the agenda first.
Rosanna, before we start,
Yeah.
I had to go back and rewatch the last meeting. Can we just make sure everyone uses their mics? Because the last meeting there's a lot of dialogue that wasn't caught because
Yeah.
mics weren't being used.
Yeah. It'd be really good to have a meeting space where the mics were just everywhere.
I know. But here we are.
Hint, hint. Conversation coming. Hint, hint. Okay. Yes, please put your mics on when you speak. Okay. I'll take a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Thanks, Matt. Second? Thank you, Ken. Is it working for you? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Anyone abstaining? Motion carries. All right. Approval. We have 2 minutes to approve our last regular meeting on the 28th and last week's special meeting. So let's start with the 28th. You had a change, Matt, right? Go ahead.
Yeah, yes, I think it was just a comment for the ice cream social. It referenced attendance by the by town people or
Residents.
Residents,
No
yeah.
residents.
so maybe just strike the reference to town resident. Good turnout. Just say
Yeah.
whatever you had in there was fine. Just
Employees and
don't imply town
administrators
residents.
were there.
That's all. It was minor.
Any other changes, comments, edits, adds? If not, take a motion to approve the minutes for August 28th.
So move. Second.
Thank you. All in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? Anyone abstaining?
I'm abstaining.
Shannon abstains. Motion carries. Okay, September 11th. Zooming right along. Any changes, edits, comments?
No motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Anyone abstaining? Motion carries. Any public comments?
No emails were submitted.
Anyone making public comments? Okay, moving on. I have a short update today because most of the stuff that went on this week has to do with FF&E, and we're going to be talking about FF&E, so I'm not going to get too much into it. But there are 4 things I want to make sure we talk about today. The Media Center, the AV for the Media Center, the etching machine exhaust, the amphitheater lighting. We never really talked about lighting for the amphitheater, and I don't know if we need lighting for the amphitheater, so it's something that we do want to talk about. And there was a 4th one, which will just come up in conversation. Oh, logo. We got to talk logo. So we did have a meeting. There was a meeting on Monday with Perkins and the administration to go over the technology stuff. So I think that got squared away. I think there was another meeting yesterday, but Joe's going to go into that in the FF&E report. So we will move right along. Communications subcommittee.
All right, hello. Pull this up. So we're continuing our regular cadence of communications, but we do have our steel completion ceremony next Wednesday at 4 p.m. The agenda will include opening remarks by Rosanna. Ms. Cocciola will introduce 3 students. We'll have 3 students speak. And then conclusion will be done by Dr. Macri. We'll just be outside the fence in the parking lot near where the beams are, the beams that the students signed. So the signed beams happened last week. The middle schooler signed them during the day, and then we had an evening where we had, I think, about 150 students. A lot of families came out to sign the beams, a lot of students from ECS and WIS, which was great. So all of that's completed. Now the beams are in. You can see them when you drive by, which is really exciting. And then we'll be able to commemorate that milestone. So all invitations went out to all the town officials, and we'll continue posting on social media.
I do want to thank the Cromwell Middle School administration for organizing all those students through and getting them in to sign. That's not an easy task, for sure. So,
Yeah.
having to do that in like 2 days. I think they had 2 days to do it, 3 days,
Couple
something
days,
like-
yeah.
3 days.
Yeah.
That was a lot of work. So thank you to them for organizing that and supporting that effort.
Yeah, it looks really great, and I know we got really positive feedback from the families who came by to the event, so I'm sure the students were appreciative of as well. So thank you to Newfield for organizing all that for us too. So
Excellent.
yeah,
All right.
thank you.
Thank you. Design subcommittee, anything?
I have nothing other than we have a meeting scheduled for Friday late afternoon to go over graphics.
It's the 20th. Okay. All right. I pulled in the FF&E stuff with the Perkins Eastman report. Claudio's out today anyway, so I figure we'll just cover it under design. So I'll hand it over to you, Joe.
Good evening, everyone. So I'm actually going to do a quick field
Can you
report.
pull the microphone to you?
Is that better?
Yeah. Thank you.
Do a quick field report, and then we'll go into the FF&E update. So Alex has been out on site on the 12th and the 13th last week, and Richter and Segan went for a site visit on the 28th, and they'll be planning another one shortly. We're reviewing the mock-up and getting through submittals. Report from Newfield is that we're getting to the end of the beginning submittals, and then we'll have submittals towards the end for owner manuals and warranties and things like that. And then we're still getting RFIs. So these are the field shots from the 20th. Alex went out there. I would have reported on this on the 28th, but I wasn't here. So steel was up. He went up on the roof, saw the rooftop steel for the equipment screens and slabs being poured, firewall going up. And then from the 12th, you could see the progress that Newfield's made, exterior sheathing with the windows punched in, stair tower. This is the steel deck. I think that's roofing there. In that location, you could see the top of Main Street here. And then another shot from the roof looking back at the second stair tower. That one's very dark on the screen. What's that? What is that one? Oh, yeah. That's a pretty cool shot, if you could see it. And then a shot looking back from the courtyard. That's the gym right here. And then a shot inside the gym. And then looking back, this is in Main Street, about where the media center entry is, looking back to the front doors. And then a shot of the auditorium. And then another shot from the roof of the TST. It's actually dry, finally. So we have some field photos of the mock-up panel. We've been working with Newfield and Arcadis and giving comments for the contractors. So we have the 2 bricks. We're showing the metal panel. I don't think the roof edge is in yet. The window finally got in. The stone sills or precast sills are in. So we have a bunch of comments that we're working through before we could approve the mock-up. And then any questions on any of that? All right, FF&E.
We were Heather and I were able to go to the site last week, and the mock-up looked really great. It was really neat to see it all come together. So nice work to the team on all of that.
Yeah, the colors are looking good. We're working through some of the finer technical details of flashing and weeps and things like that. Aligning brick. All right, so FF&E's been an ongoing process. So we're still, whoops, wrong button. So we're still waiting for the final selection of the teacher desk. The sample will arrive on Monday. It's everything that we've asked for. From what I hear, it'll be no wheels, wood, the amount of storage that everybody's asking for. So There's an image of it, of a drawing of it. Most furniture selections are confirmed at this point. Plan specs and data sheets are nearly complete. Estimates we're tracking on budget still, even with all the changes of the last 7 days. Actually, some of the estimates went down. So, and then we're still on track for our early October PCR meetings. So I just wanted to show, this is the full furniture plan, so you could see just the amount of furniture that's going to go into the building.
Joe, are we still on track for the joint meeting next Wednesday, or do we need to push that out?
I'm going to have a call with Emily tomorrow to talk about that.
Okay.
we're looking for a couple items, specification related from the town, the procurement, the town, what's it called? Basically their rules. So there's like 3 spec sections that go into the front end of the spec that we need from the town. Their sample purchase order, things like that. And I got to check with D'Agostino to make sure, because they had a lot of changes, to make sure that they're going to be able to hit being able to issue on Friday to
Okay.
make the 25th. So I'll confirm that all tomorrow. And then the second floor plan. Okay, so just showing updates. So this is just the drawing from the shop drawing that we received of the teacher's desk. So it has 2 file drawers, a file drawer, and 2 book drawers here. I think that's what they call them. And this would be all a wood look laminate. So that's the only change for the typical classroom. For the robotics class, when we received feedback from the robotics teacher, he wasn't the size robotics table that we had specified didn't meet the needs that he needed. So instead of 3 desks for 24 students, we have 7 desks for 28 students now. And actually, the price of these desks combined, the 7, it's about a $5,000 savings over the 3 desks. So there was some savings found there as well. We also, and they look like this. So it's still got the magnetic dots that hold up the stools, and then what it doesn't come with is the bumper kit that the other table had. So it's just a standard table that you would do robotics on. And then Alen also found a chair. It's very similar in look to the typical classroom chair. It does come with the basket underneath. And then it's able to do left and right tablet arms. So we would want to know what ratio you would think. Maybe Dr. Macri or Ann could provide that information. Looked it up online. Generally, in the public, it's 90-10, righties, lefty. So we would think 25 and 3. So we just want to confirm that. Only change in the coding classroom was actually for the sound room. It was originally reported that the lights, that the school had lights already that they could bring over. I guess those are physically mounted to the building, so the teacher provided this lighting package that would get plugged in and would be movable. So that's now in the estimate as well. And then the only change here was the music stand racks. So Alen showed that here. So it would take up that amount of space, so we would need 7 of those. So that's in the estimate as well right now. And then media center steam furniture. So no real update to the furniture here. Just wanted to show, again, that there's a reading area, a teaching area, and then additional project tables here, and then the bookcases. So there was a lot of discussion about having Board of Ed meetings in this space. So we did a layout of what would happen to make a Board of Ed meeting. So rearranging some of this furniture here to allow space for audience seating, so that would allow for at least 20 seats. And then 6 tables to allow for 16 chairs here, or 14 chairs. But it would require moving tables off to the side. The mobile whiteboard would have to go in the storage room. The teacher desk would have to go here. And then the student desks and chairs would have to be relocated somewhere else in the building during a meeting or pushed off to the side somehow. So that would be the furniture layout. And we actually incorporated this furniture, the nesting tables and the chairs, into the estimate right now.
So are these additional tables and chairs, or are they reconfigured tables and chairs?
These would be additional that would be appropriate for a meeting.
So they would need to find a place to store them when they're not meeting,
Correct.
or find desks / tables in that room that could be just reconfigured.
Right. So we currently have this student desk that is shown here,
Yeah.
which would be very tiny for a meeting desk.
So in the middle school now, is Ann over there? No, she's not here. In the middle school now, 'cause remember when we used to have our meetings in the middle school? They took the little desks and they arranged them in a U shape. I didn't think that was that bad, was it?
They have more tables than desks. Yeah, they have tables in there now.
Yeah, but when we were
They're not student desks.
Oh, but they were small though, like 2 people at a.
They're 2 people at a table, but
Yeah.
they're tables, not desks.
Oh, they're tables.
Yeah.
So
Did anyone look at the, is that what? Did anyone look at the stage area? And with stage storage, there might be room for tables to put aside?
There would be room here, and then there's also an additional storage room here that hasn't been purposed for anything yet, so they could go there. My one thing I would be cautious of is if we're storing meeting tables in the auditorium storage, then if there's props and sets and things like that, where does that get stored then?
You've already got audio systems in the auditorium.
Oh,
that
to
might
use the auditorium in lieu of the media
use-
center.
Use the auditorium
That-
as
that
the,
would
as
be
the
another
location, yeah.
That would be another possibility, yes. So there's already a sound system there. The only additional needs there would be cameras and maybe some additional microphones. I think there's, I have to check what the number is in the auditorium.
Is it built into the ed spec to be able to do that, or is that something that we'd have to update?
The ed spec was silent on having a Board of Ed meeting in the building, so this is something that we're trying to accommodate at this point.
Okay.
So there's actually the 4 spaces. Let's go back to this plan. So the 4 spaces would be the media center, the auditorium, which we'd have to have some sort of tables as well and chairs for the board and Dr. Macri. The cafeteria, which also has a sound system already, so stacking the tables and pushing them off to the side and then providing chairs and seating for that. Or the gym, which also has a sound system. I would think the gym would be the least ideal place of the 4.
Selena, since I see you back there, and since this will be your meeting, do you have any opinions about having? Do you mind just maybe giving us your thoughts on having board meetings on a stage versus in a media center?
I mean, I don't think, oops, sorry. Is this even on? It's so quiet. I'm not opposed to having it on the stage if it works logistically. I mean, I missed part of that. We would have tables set up on a stage. Is that what?
Yeah, because so right
kind
now
of
the
odd, but-
situation is that the auditorium is already set up for sound, and we can add live streaming to it. The media center is not. And you also have the issue where the desks in the media center couldn't be repurposed for like a setup for a Board of Ed meeting. Like we would need to buy additional tables.
So we don't have any tables in that new space that are just like these that we could just push together? No? Okay.
There are 2 project style tables, and then so that would be I believe this table here, D and F.
So Joe, we're showing an alternative slide before.
Yeah. So this would. Whoops.
Oh.
So that would be the meeting setup. So this would be additional furniture to accommodate a
Right,
meeting.
and then you're saying you'd show how you moved the existing.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so the
So
teacher desk
configuration
could have
one,
to
configuration
go
two.
storage,
Okay.
the whiteboard would go into storage, those
Oh.
desk tables that we just looked at, and then relocating the student desks as well, in a way, yes. So
yeah,
you-
in either location, auditorium or media center, we would have to identify somewhere to store tables and chairs.
correct.
Correct? Am I
Unless
understanding that correctly?
unless they chose tables and chairs in this room that could be reconfigured. You know, instead of having these
Right.
desks, instead of having two desks side by side, having like a long 2-person table like they have today in the media center.
Okay.
Yeah, so these would be individuals that could be arranged in any way.
Right.
So we show it one way. We don't show however the teacher would want to use them.
Yeah.
And you couldn't reconfigure these into like a U shape because what?
No, you could. You
Oh.
could. They're just individual desks. They would.
Instead of tables.
Right, and then you would still want
With
more
stools.
adult chairs probably because
Yeah.
these have the wobble type stool. So I don't know how you feel about sitting on those, but so there's also, I mean, there are other chairs in the building that could be used. So there's the music chairs that would be for the stage could be brought over as well. So there's that. I don't know how comfortable those are for a multi-hour meeting. So
I mean, they're made for
What was
7th graders.
what was the outcome of the meeting on Monday that where this was discussed a little bit?
I don't know if we talked about this specifically, did we?
not at the.
Not in the Monday meeting.
I had a lot of meetings on Monday. Was that the 1 o'clock meeting? 12 o'clock meeting?
The one that Carrie.
Yes.
led.
So I don't think we discussed it fully there. We spoke about it at the 2 o'clock technology
Yeah.
meeting.
Right.
And Dr. McLean joined us for that one
But
as
that was
well.
more focused on the electronics or the technology,
Yes.
not so much the
the
part,
furniture. Right.
furniture.
So
One thing we need to keep in mind is that, the more furniture that we show, the more questions that we're going to have to answer when we go for our plan review as to, well, where's this going to be used?
Mhm.
What is the purpose for X?
right.
And if we're getting something that's specifically for an after-hours use, they're going to be less likely to pay us our
Mhm.
reimbursement for that. So to the extent that we can use other, daytime use
Yeah.
furnishings to accommodate these after-hours programs, the more reimbursement we're likely to get.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, especially, and same thing with systems in a building, if there's already something there during the day that supports the educational mission, then A, we're not paying for a second system, and B, we're not gonna get questioned on it.
So I would say that the options really are to change the furniture in that room so that it could accommodate a Board of Ed meeting.
Okay, but
Maybe
I
something like
heard
this.
You don't have audio systems in the media center.
Would have to
Correct.
add, we would also have to add the audio to it.
Would it be a setup something like this? I mean, this was added, right? What we have currently.
So, oh, sorry.
Do you
Well, you could, but I think D'Agostino doesn't do that type of thing. They do like the actual, like, permanent installs
Correct.
where they have like sound coming down and speakers and the whole.
But we don't have that option. That wasn't part of the plan. You're saying.
We can. It's early enough. We can make the change if we wanted to now. So like sound aside, right?
Okay.
Like we focus on furniture. If we're gonna go down that path with turning it into a space that we can have it, I think we need to have furniture that can be mobile and not used. Right, like we have to have desks in there that can be converted to a space where where we can have our board meetings. And if that's not possible, then not use this area for board meetings and use the auditorium and the stage.
Well, couldn't we use those tables? Or they make rectangular tables a rectangular top that does the same thing,
Mm-hmm.
if that's the issue.
Yeah, you could use those.
But then I could just see bringing in chairs from the auditorium.
And you could do that as well. Yes.
I just don't know how comfortable those chairs are going to be for adults. That's my only question.
Did they want to use the space
Well,
for more
either-
than just Board of Ed meetings too, for
Yeah.
other meetings? Yeah.
I mean,
Well-
it's the media center, so it's primarily for the student use. So we're saying if you also want to use it for PTO meetings, Board of Ed meetings, future building committee meetings, like whatever, town meetings, it would need to be adaptable for that, if that's
Even if
the
you
intent of the
did
space.
the meetings in the auditorium, you still have the chairs would be the same chairs you'd be bringing into this room.
You still need to buy tables for the auditorium then.
Right. But
Right.
you were saying that the chairs that
You
would
s-
be brought in here.
You still
are-
have a chair and table issue, no matter what.
No, I understand that, but
Yeah.
the chair, regardless of the space, would likely be the chair that is in the music.
Right, but
Right.
the chairs in the auditorium are meant for students, for the band to sit on. They're not adult, like, I don't know how comfortable they're gonna be for a grown adult to sit in there for an hour, 2 hours, that's all.
That
I
chair.
just- That's the chair. Maybe they are, I don't know.
Well, can't we get 16 stackable chairs just like those and just put them in the storage room?
That's essentially. Whoops. That's essentially
Just
what.
add that.
Yeah, that's what they
is,
are.
is a stackable chair.
But something more comfortable. But something more comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, going back, the wobbly seats, was that like a hard and fast requirement versus, I mean, look what we're sitting on now. It's comfortable.
Right.
It can be multi-purpose. I don't want to take away if there was a reason to have those wobbly chairs. Maybe just have one of them have wobbly chairs.
Yeah, it was a wobbly chair to like,
I'd have to check back in the notes how.
I thought I didn't,
stools
I don't
came
think,
into this space.
I don't think it sank in that the wobbly chairs were for all the students. I thought it was just for students who need movement.
So yeah.
Well,
so
are
for
these wobbly stools, or are they just? I think they just.
They're
look
just
like
a
calling them
stool,
wobbly.
right?
I'm calling them
Yeah.
wobbly, I guess.
yeah, this is
Yeah,
a
they're just a
wobble.
regular
This is a
stool.
wobble stool.
They wobble.
Yeah.
They wobble.
They
I
move?
believe so. Yes.
H, right? H? I'm just being specific, right? The
Yes,
H is the
H,
one.
yeah.
H. I mean, it has a wide base, but
Doesn't
then
look
F
very
is-
comfortable.
you
is
could
the-
rock in any stool.
The tall
Hurt their
stool.
back sitting on there all day.
Yeah.
Are they
But
flips?
they don't sit a lot in that room, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like
They
they're up
don't?
at the tables, and
don't know
that's
if
what
those-
that's how Dr. Macri
Let me
described
see.
it. Blake.
They're still going to be sitting a fair amount of the time. I mean, they're not up
Oh,
for an entire hour.
I apologize. They are not wobble stools.
Okay.
Those are the
Those
wobble
are
stools.
the,
Okay.
yeah.
Still, there's no back.
These are just
What do we call these?
just
Buckets.
Stools?
stools, regular
There's no
stools.
back.
Sorry, they don't wobble.
With no
Yeah.
back support.
I mean, it would seem like you get a lot more economies of scale by maybe lose some of the design flair, but you increase usability by making these as usable for all purposes.
Mm-hmm.
How many of those are there?
16.
16.
Yeah, because then if those are like a stackable chair, right, then we can use them, and then you also don't have to relocate them if you're having a meeting there.
Right.
You have to make sure they fit under the desks like the stool does too, that they're the right size.
Yeah. So maybe
What-
those are
what's-
some questions for Ms. Cochio.
What's over in F? Those two tables?
So F is the, I believe F is the table, which is this,
Ah.
and then D.
Project tables.
D is the bookshelves. So F is the table and
Oh.
these stools here.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
So that would be there and there.
D is the shelving. I thought. Okay.
Yeah, D's the shelving.
D is the shelving.
So I know Dr. Macri really wanted this space to be used for board meetings. So I guess if they'll bring it back to,
I do think it's important we're calling it the media center, but it really in all effect is a classroom.
yeah,
So it doesn't really, the media center is secondary, so it is really the STEAM classroom.
right,
That's its number one purpose.
right.
So that's part of what I believe the furniture choices were to give that flexibility that she needs for all her different projects.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
So maybe we just bring it back to administration, see what they want to do with the space. If we want to keep it, we can either keep it, so options are keep it as is, no board meetings, do the board meetings in the auditorium. We would have to find tables. We still have to find tables for auditorium.
Then yes, definitely
And
tables.
the state may not like us buying tables for
I'm not sure auditorium is an option, though. I mean, the auditorium might have other things going on the same night we have meetings. So I feel like this would be the place we would have our meetings if that doesn't work out.
So if we wanted to do that, then we would have to get the sound installed. And the sound package, we'll call it, with like the microphones and everything's around $60,000.
Installed where? I was saying here, have it here at the high school.
Oh,
as
keep it
opposed-
at the high school, you
Right,
mean?
just keep it here instead of
Oh.
using the auditorium that's for other purposes.
Yeah. Like I said, this she just wanted the space there, so we'd have to go back and ask her if that's still something she wants.
Okay.
So the only thing, the reason I asked a similar question last week about the EdSpec is if the purpose of the media center is to also live stream or use some sort of technology in the classroom as part of the STEAM curriculum,
Yeah.
and we don't have the live streaming capability now, that may be part of what needs to go forward in the building. So while we're talking about it in the context of a meeting, that may not be the ultimate use for it. So if the STEAM curriculum requires it, then I would recommend we put it in. But if it's just for the purpose of a meeting, I understand why we're saying that may not be, if it's not part of the curriculum. So
Yeah,
just
that-
consider if
that
it
should definitely be clarified
Yeah.
because it seems like there could be an educational use.
Yeah.
If they have
A lot of
speakers.
that's already in the coding room. They would have the capability with their cameras and things to do that kind of thing.
But in
Just
this-
as far as, live streaming.
Yeah,
but
I'm
it's not-
thinking, I'm even thinking like people like zooming in, right? Like if there's like guest
Right, right.
speakers or like from, like our career days, right? Like people like that kind of technology.
I believe it has the same TV, big interactive TV, which would function as every other classroom.
But it doesn't have the speakers. So like the students couldn't interact, right? Is that like the microphones and stuff? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I mean, every classroom would have the capability of someone zooming in and having a conversation. With
In the whole
Through-
classroom
through the
or just
computer.
through?
Through a
Oh, just
Through the
for-
computer.
Do the TVs, do the interactive boards do that? Is that the interaction point?
Yeah, essentially that's it, and you'd have just the computer mic that would
So-
work.
right,
That's
so
what we
they-
do now.
Okay.
So it would be, the interactive monitors don't have a camera component, so you.
Oh, they don't,
You'd
okay.
have to get a
Okay.
webcam, basically.
Okay.
Which is similar to what we're providing at the conference rooms.
Okay. So if,
What are we controlling in the code?
So that is for the, there's it's like the student broadcast, so there's cameras and microphones for that, and that the school already has, and then a sound board here, and I'm not sure how they broadcast it out from there, though.
can that
So-
room be
Could that be turned
configured?
to the room itself instead of the little room?
I
I mean, the
it's-
infrastructure is there, even if they had to buy another camera.
I suppose they could do that. I'm not
I have a
sure.
question for
No, those spaces are pretty highly specialized. I don't think it could just go in the big room.
So I have a question for Jack. If we put the AV system in the media center and it's not called out in the ed spec for educational purposes, is it reimbursable?
Likely not. So when the word coding room came up and we saw those, the sound room and whatnot, even if we were to buy additional devices that went into the classroom portion instead of in the little broadcast room, if the infrastructure in general is there, and now we're just taking it on the other side of the wall, you've got furniture that looks like it could be configured to host a meeting. And if we bought a few other devices as ineligible extras, but it ties into an infrastructure that we already own, the upcharge is going to be minimal at the end. Is this room big enough to accept, any kind of public participation or not?
You'd be limited to 49 occupants here,
Yeah.
because there's only one means of,
Even
well, I
when-
guess you could,
When we looked at the,
we'd have to look at
at the
that.
media center, you had, 16 and then 20 audience members.
Correct.
So that was under 49 as well.
Mhm.
So, but this could be a potential home for it. You said you have audio in the cafeteria.
Correct.
We've got audio in the auditorium and
Yep.
presumably
In the gym.
the opportunity to film in the auditorium.
Yes.
So there could, again, The big ticket items are gonna be the infrastructure. If we bought some extra, out of pocket, bought some extra furniture to accommodate a meeting setup, or bought an extra set of microphones and a camera for a meeting setup, that's gonna be much less than recreating another set of infrastructure that supports those devices. So to be able to tag a space and then customize it with a little extra stuff sounds like a better value in the long run.
Okay, so which direction are we going in?
So I think putting it in this room is a bad idea. Because those benches are going to be 34 inches high. And then they have stools, so we'd have to get a chair that works with a 34-inch high bench. I would not put it in here.
Okay.
I think we're good with keeping our meetings at the high school.
I think you have to get Dr. Macri though, right?
She's,
That
she's
was
okay
the
with
only-
it too.
To weigh in.
But absolutely, double check with her, but I'm sure she'd be okay.
Because it's just like it seems like I don't want to miss it, like an opportunity, right? Like like we know we're limited in meeting spaces in general for like PTOs and things. If we're creating a new school, I don't want to miss a potential meeting space if it's a possibility.
Then lighting up the entire auditorium for a 1-hour meeting sounds excessive.
It feels a little short-sighted to not have a room like that. A smaller room that could function as for after-hours meetings. Or else we're going to end up with something ad hoc.
Did Dr. Macri express how she would conduct faculty meetings and such? What room they'll be using for things like that?
I think that's what she was hoping.
We use the current library, but we don't need any audio or visual components for that. So we just all we'd still do that. We all just come in there and sit on stools. And they can be over faster, so it would be better.
Yeah, I still go back to, are you going to, in the curriculum or even in the faculty meetings, are you going to want to have the capability to connect outside the school? The career day is a great example. I don't know if you do something like that. What if you wanted to meet like the best project engineer in the world? You might want her to zoom in from her desk. Something like that. That just, to me, that would meet some curriculum intent if that's part of the curriculum
Yeah,
and solve multiple problems.
I think I kind of agree with you, Jessica, too. And it's like you could always allow for the capability. It's easier to allow for the capability and not use it than want it and not have the capability. You know what I mean? And like the furniture and everything secondary, you could, like, even if you didn't change your furniture and left it as is, at least you have the capability, the ability to have sound and live stream in that space if you ever needed it. And it's better to do it now than as a second thought later and then be like, oh my gosh, now it's going to cost you 3 times as much to have to go install it.
Do you know the dimensions of the desks in the media center? The student desks?
I don't, off the top of my head. I'd have to look that up for you. Let's see, I might have it in here. Hold on.
So
Like, I'm just wondering, like, if you put them all in a
36
think
inches.
Yeah, I think
Yeah, I
that
don't
I
even
think
know if
those
they're
I
that
mean,
big.
could you
how big of a table?
how hard would it be, Joe, to like rearrange the actual desks into like a U to see what it looks like?
It wouldn't. It's yeah. You could do that.
Yeah.
So you could.
I mean, at least it's something, right? They're
They just need different chairs.
Right,
Right.
right.
Right,
That's a-
right.
that's-
And at
it's-
worst, you could use the
Use
music
the band
chairs.
use the band chairs.
right.
Because they're on a rack, you just roll them in.
Right.
I mean,
They're
are
already
there
on
any?
a rack.
Are there any?
They're literally
chairs?
across the hall, right? Isn't the
Down the
auditorium
hall.
like down the hall? Yeah.
I thought it wasn't reimbursable though, is the issue, the main issue.
No, so it is reimbursable because
If it's for
the
student.
hardware is already used for the classrooms. We're saying anything, if we were to buy specific tables just for meetings, then it wouldn't be because they're not used for classroom use.
But to add the sound and everything else you're talking about is not reimbursable, correct?
It should be.
If it's part of the
If we can-
curriculum.
If it's part of the
That's
curriculum.
That's the question,
Yeah,
yeah.
if there's a space that needs it for educational purposes, then we can argue for reimbursement.
I think
We
if you
need to know
added-
this by next, the 25th, right? This has to all be,
we're hoping,
finished.
we're aiming for the 25th.
Right. So the AV portion of it would actually not be part of the technology, FF&E technology package. That would be a change order to the construction package. So we have slightly more time to make that decision, but not much more time. And is there going to be an ed spec update for the media center to the STEAM
So there,
component with the
Yeah,
state?
because
at the
no?
end, we're gonna have to
Yeah.
have at least one ed spec change that talks about the media center and
Right.
whatever other changes.
Was the
auditorium,
auditorium seating
yeah, the
capacity
auditorium
part
seating.
of that?
Well,
Yeah.
we did get an ed spec revision last year.
Oh, you did?
To go
Okay.
with the larger auditorium. That was approved.
We
through
went to the
through
state with
board,
that.
right?
We didn't go to the state with that though, did we?
I believe we did, yeah.
Oh,
In order to get our plans approved for the larger auditorium, we had to
Okay.
show that it was driven by a revised ed spec.
Do they allow a second one? I know it's usually one bite at the apple for most things, but
If the ed spec changes, we report it.
okay.
So I don't think we're limited.
So, could we just look at, I don't know if it's just a cost estimate to say, can we add that audio video
so add
capabilities?
that'd be like like rough
The
order of
media
magnitude around 60,000, right?
Yeah, ballpark from D'Agostino was 65,000.
That
to
includes
fit
the
out the-
microphones, the sound closet, whatever you call
Cameras,
it.
When we say microphones, is it like drop from the ceiling type things?
They'd have to look at that to see, based on the size of the space, if it would be more general mics or more specific dedicated mics to accommodate that size space.
I agree, though. It's very short-sighted to not put this in.
Let's make our media center high tech.
That's what I
Yeah.
say. I consider trying to
Yeah.
make this
Yeah.
as
I mean, it's supposed to be a STEAM area, like
yeah.
Right.
to make it as high tech as
Yeah, and get
put it-
16 of those chairs that are behind Heather.
Low tech
I mean,
chairs, high tech capability.
If it's if it gets written in the ed spec, then it.
But even aside from that, I think it's a good investment.
Right.
You're right. We'd
Right,
rather
but for
we'd rather
reimbursement, like,
to
if
be
it's-
used for educational. But
Right.
even if not, I think it's still.
Well, and
worth-
guess what? We're still under budget.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
This
we
might
haven't
be a
got that
good
far
area.
yet, Ken.
Yeah, it would seem like a good area to do. I just think setting up this room isn't
We're
easy,
still
right? You gotta
under.
store,
We have like $8 million.
You gotta store 20 of these. You gotta store them. Keep them in good condition. Plug them all in. Whereas if it was all just
There's
integrated,
no schedule conflicts anywhere then.
yeah,
It's minimal moving.
I think there's a significant added value.
yeah, I think
Yes.
so,
Yeah.
yeah.
Agreed.
Okay, so I think, are we all agreeing that sound should go in there and
Yes.
the furniture, we'll just use what we have, and if that doesn't work out, then down the line they can change it up. Since we can't get it reimbursed anyway,
To be
get
specific,
special
it's
desks.
sound, it's mic, and video.
Sound, mic, video, live stream capability, so cameras, audio. That was me. Sorry about that.
Do we need to vote on that or just follow up with Dr. Macri and see if that's going to be added into the
I'll
curriculum
follow
or
up
if it
with her
meets
when
expectations?
she
Okay.
gets back.
So would there be any adjustments to the furniture?
No,
Okay.
because
I thought the
it
only
wouldn't be
question
reimbursed
was-
anyway. I
I
mean,
thought
unless
the
they
only
want to change the
Question is
furniture.
if they're wed to those no chair back stool like stools, it would seem
Well, we have the auditorium chairs we could roll in,
okay.
the stage
Yeah,
chairs.
yeah. It's just a matter, right? I mean, you want to roll those in and roll those ones out, but
I mean, I'll pose the
I guess we
question to Mrs.
Some-
Cochiola if
yeah.
they,
Something's gonna have to be rolled in and rolled out no matter what.
yeah.
Correct.
So.
Well, unless they took away those stools and put like real chairs in there.
Right, but I think, like Blaze said, part of the reason she had those chairs was probably for flexibility. They can tuck under, and just kind of get out of the way for more usable space for the classroom.
Yeah. Sure.
but the big one is the audio. Getting the audio video. Is
Yeah, that's the
into
major one.
okay.
Okay, I think we're good.
Okay, so from Monday's meeting, we received a list of additional media center STEAM equipment, including some things that I had no idea what they were until I looked them up. So Glowforge Spark Craft Laser, which does like engraving into any material. It does require ventilation to a air purifier, or it has to be within 8 feet of a operable window. So we're also speccing the filter.
So that means that wherever
and it could go anywhere then.
wherever they put this laser is going to have to be pretty much a permanent location because of the ventilation required.
So with the filter, there's a hose that goes from the back of the device to the filter, so it could go pretty much anywhere.
But not like across the room, like
No,
has to
no,
be-
whatever the length of the
yeah.
hose that they recommend, the manufacturer recommends. A laminator, a poster printer, aka a plotter. This was a new one for me, a Cricut maker. So it's a cutter, right? It cuts
How do you
things.
think we got this through? How do we get this through referendum? Was our crickets?
Many
It's real.
hours were spent on those machines between these three ladies.
And then there's a cart for that, and then a heat press and a stand for the heat press. So that's all in the budget. So speaking of the budget, so for the middle school, we are still, with all the revisions and changes, $50,000 under budget. For the central administration office, we are now $390 over budget because we added a shredder. So we were at budget, and then we added the shredder. For the technology estimate, we are still $50,000 under budget. And then the central admin, we were 11, and now we're down to 9.6 over budget. And then ineligibles went down, and this one stayed the same.
So we've got 110,000 in ineligibles. We might have 16 chairs that could be ineligible. Is that a big deal?
Right.
No.
Should we add that in?
What?
Those 16 chairs.
16 more comfortable chairs?
Yeah. Am I on?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. So 16 more comfortable chairs for adult-sized,
But I would say make sure they're
mountable,
stackable.
stackable. Thank you. That's our word.
I agree with that.
16 adult-sized stackable chairs.
Sorry, where we're getting 16 from? I thought if we had
'Cause that's
to
how much
host
would
40
fit.
people, we would bring
Four per-
in
four tables.
stage.
That's how much would fit in that space
For the tables,
for the tables.
not for the audience members.
Right, right, for the
These
tables,
Yeah.
yeah.
For those, I
Yeah.
check.
4, 6, 8, 10,
Oh,
12.
okay. So you would take out
I
the
have 14
short
there.
ones.
Yeah,
We'll take
so
out
it'd be
the
34.
the wobblies.
The ones that don't stack.
Yeah.
Roll them
Will
down
the
hall.
desks?
Yeah, I mean, it could be part of the PE.
It could be the
phys ed.
audience.
They would have to fit under the desks too, which we're saying they wouldn't
Right.
because those desks go with the other chairs, right? So then
We-
we need tables too.
We'd have to check that.
Okay.
Well, we're saying these would be stackable chairs would just move to like one of the storage rooms, right?
Correct.
So they don't need to fit underneath the tables.
Well, I'm thinking
Well,
for a meeting, you still
for a
need a
meeting.
Yeah,
table.
when you're sitting at the when you're
Oh, the
sitting
desks
at
have to
the
be tall
desk.
enough or
Yeah,
high enough
yeah.
that yeah. I get you.
Make sure the width of the chair can fit between the legs of the desk.
Yeah.
So we just have to. And you want arms? Or no arms? You want like that, right?
I don't care.
Okay.
If there's arms, make sure it fits under.
Right.
Okay. What's that chair in the upper? What's that upper right hand chair in the middle with the arms?
That one.
Yeah, where's
would
that
be the
go?
new chairs that would be for the meeting.
Oh, this is the
So
meeting
you could
configuration.
use that
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
We would have to check if we
those are
use
stackable?
that chair. It's stackable.
Yeah.
And we just have to make sure it would fit under that desk.
That desk, yeah. Okay.
Sorry, are those padded? Sorry,
Hmm?
we were saying padded or no?
No, I don't think so.
Then what's the difference then with the chairs that are in the choir? Choir. in
They're
the
bigger
auditorium?
and they have armrests.
Oh, okay, all right. Yeah. Okay.
Sturdy.
I
So
just
that
figured
versus
I was thin layer padding.
that.
but-
Yeah.
All right, so schedule. As of right now, we're still on schedule, but it sounds like I would want to push the meeting a week.
What would that do for our overall timeline to get stuff to the state and approved before the end of the year?
So we have meetings scheduled for the 7th and the 9th. So if we pushed it to the 2nd, the joint meeting, we could still make that 7th, I would think. It would
Okay.
give less time to get documents to the state.
Okay.
Jack, do you think that would be 5 days enough time for review? for them?
If the package was prepared in advance of the meeting of the 2nd, because obviously
Oh, yes.
the board and the committee need to look at it, and we didn't make any further changes, then the following morning to issue what we had, to be all prepped in advance of that meeting and just get it out the door the next day with the signatures on it.
Okay.
But that timeline does assume no changes.
Correct.
No further changes after tonight. No further changes at that meeting, let's put it that way.
Yeah.
So that meeting really needs to be like a check in the box.
So
kind of.
between tonight
But
and
it's
next
also the
week.
first time Board of Education is going to be weighing in. I mean, obviously
Well,
Selena's been involved.
We
but-
can give them what we have today to start looking at stuff.
Yeah.
Right? Understanding some of the stuff's going to change between now and next week.
No, we could give a
I just give what we have today and just say like it's like 90
check
yeah.
set.
That way if they have any questions they can bring it up. I think there's a couple little loose ends, but I think most of it's already been decided for the most part.
Right. The biggest loose end is the teacher desk.
That
So if that's
which-
rejected on Monday, we would have to push the meeting anyway.
Yeah.
That's a big item.
And when do
Yeah.
we see like what was selected for like fabrics and things like that, colors?
That would be at the next meeting. We have to have a final conversation about that.
On the 2nd?
Yeah.
There's no like anything you could show us beforehand?
I could check. I'll check with Alen.
I think
I
that
know
should
Dr.
be-
Macri made a lot of selections on things that were complementary to the school colors,
I think it'd be good to
the
like
project
include
colors.
include something for people to look at before
Okay.
then to review it. I thought we would change anything, just satisfy curiosity.
You want to repeat that louder for the record?
No,
No.
I don't. I don't.
I'm sitting here biting my tongue.
So I don't know. I'm feeling like Joe needs another week.
Yeah, I'm okay. Selena, do you think your board will be able to meet on the 2nd?
The first week of October, you said?
October
October 2nd?
Yeah, it'll be 2 weeks from today.
I think so.
So Lisa, we would need to move our special meeting from. Okay, perfect.
Right. Well, I think it's a normal building committee meeting date, at least according
Oh
to my
yeah,
calendar.
yeah, it's our normal building committee meeting. That's right. We'll just make it the first agenda
Mhm.
topic. No, 7. Yeah, it's our regular meeting. We'll just do it up towards the start of the agenda so the Board of Ed doesn't have to stay for the whole thing.
That's all I have.
One last question. You indexed the slide so fast.
Oh, sorry.
Just to go back to the Cricut slide, is there anything for the laser, the Cricut, the laminator? Is it all going to go on countertops, or do they need tables or anything to go with it?
That's a good question. So there's no millwork left in the media center. I can't read what that is, so I don't know if that's a table. There might be bookshelves that it could go on top of that. All the bookshelves are low, so it could go on top of there, but they would need power. So I'll check with Alen on that one.
Okay.
I have a question.
Oh
on
wait,
the-
so sorry, wait. So for the Cricut and
on a
the
cart.
heat stand have a cart. So the laminator and the glow forge, we would need to provide something for that probably.
Okay.
Did they include, I know, like the heat press sometimes, and definitely the Cricut comes with all like the tools that you need to use? Is that part of the package?
I believe so.
Okay. Can we just
Yeah.
check? Because it's pretty much useless
There-
without the tools.
Yeah, I had when I looked. I just clipped a picture of it just to show it, but it was a lengthy series of pictures of all the accessories as well. So I would assume that all comes with it.
What did we settle on with 3D printers?
The district has 3D printers. We're providing carts for those.
So we're not buying additional 3D printers?
No.
Rosanna, I have a few things on a list that I wanted to make sure were included. I think they were discussed, but there was something about lighting.
Yep, the lighting for
Is
the.
that in there? Okay.
Yep. And the.
And then
podcast
a Sharps container was something else that was mentioned.
So that's going to be brought by the nurse has a vendor that brings the
Okay.
container and takes it away and does all that stuff.
What about rack for music stands? We talked about that.
Yep,
Yes, that's in there now.
too. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yep. And we're adding a cleaning station in the fitness room.
Yes. Oh, let me. I had another list too. Just let me switch notebooks here. So we just talked about this, the tables for the 3D printers, the music stand cart, the state flags and flag stands are in the estimate now. And then the sanitizing cleaning station for the fitness room is also in there. And then I hate to bring this up again, but we switched the coffee maker back to the Keurig versus I don't even want to remember the name of the other thing, which was very expensive apparently.
And then what do we settle on for the cafeteria register? Do we need the stands, or are they bringing their stands over?
I think we still need to confirm that. Claudio was going to check on if they were still usable and compatible, since they are with the register and the point of sale, if they could be brought over. If not, we'd have to specify something. I also have to check, I didn't get a chance to do this today, check the food service drawings to see if they're already providing a table for that as part of that package.
Okay. And then another thing that came up on Monday was that we talked about the mats that the cafeteria workers, I guess they have a service there that will take the mats, wash them, then bring them back like every other week, so we don't have to worry about
Right.
that. D'Agostino needs to verify the range on the polycoms for the conference rooms.
Yes, I'll have to
Make
get
sure
back to you on
that
that still.
it's a pretty big table. Usually I'm used to the little microphones on the either end of the table. This is just like a little device in the middle. I'm worried that's not good. I mean, yes.
I did get an email.
Oh.
That they will reach
Oh.
the table.
They will reach?
Yeah, D'Agostino sent it to Ann for sure.
Oh, okay, good. All right, good.
I can forward that to you.
Sure, thank you. Did we talk about Discover Video at this meeting last time, or is that something we only talked about Monday?
I think that was on Monday.
Do you know much about it? It's like a server, right? Womp womp. Pulling you into the mix. Yeah.
So, Discover Video is a platform that allows. Originally, we had put in for a grant and got approved for a Discover Video server, which allows to do it. We were thinking for using it for digital signage and internal and external broadcasting. It can do all those capabilities. I don't know the exact package of what was approved in the grant. That was handled by two faculty members here at the high school, if I recall. But that would be like our platform. If we were going to do live streaming, that would be the platform we would be utilizing.
Okay. And it sounds like you need it in the curriculum in the media center.
Yes.
Sorry, can I ask one other question while you're sitting there?
Sure.
Just because D'Agostino didn't know the answer last week, not because it was, we just asked, are the servers all sized for the whole district? They just weren't sure when we asked the question.
A lot of our servers are virtualized, so
Okay.
And we have some fairly new already in the data center existing.
Mm-hmm.
It's more of a question as to how we transfer them from one location to the other when the other data center is operational. It's more of a timing issue than a capacity
Okay.
issue.
Okay,
And
so-
making all the pieces fit. Yeah.
So once you're in the new school, there's still the capability to support the whole district.
Oh, absolutely.
We've got all the technology that we need in order to do that. Okay, that's what we were looking for. Thank you.
And then one last thing that I forgot to bring up was we had talked about the docking stations last week, and at the meeting Monday, and Blaze brought up a good point, was that the teachers, the way they utilize their desktops is like they project on the screen using their desktops, and then they walk around with their laptops and they score and grade and stuff, and they want the flexibility to be able to like do stuff on their laptop that's not projected on the screen and keep the screen projection static. So the docking stations really wouldn't provide any added benefit other than if they want to actually dock it and be able to use their screens, but it sounds like that's not something they really care about, so they don't need that. Okay.
Do we need to talk about amphitheater lighting?
Oh, amphitheater lighting. Thank you. And logo. So, I was talking to Joe yesterday about the amphitheater because there are steps in the amphitheater, right? A couple of them. And at night, there's going to be, I'm sure, people going out there, and it's not going to be lit. And I'm worried about safety. So whether we put like solar lights in there or real lights, I'm thinking solar lights probably be better. So we don't have to like run the wires out there. So
Don't we need lights out there for code?
I don't think so. It's
Pathways
not-
need a certain,
Well, the path has lights, yes, but
Yeah,
the
your
amphitheater
path
itself
of egress
does
has
not.
lighting, but the amphitheater was not intended to be an
Egress component.
off-hours use. So it wasn't provided with lighting. It's not an occupied, quote-unquote, there's no occupancy out there at night.
Right.
So there was no programmed
that
lighting for
feels
it.
like a stretch to me, but
do you have to go through the amphitheater to get to the walking path?
I don't think so.
Okay. I'm just worried about people walking there at night and then going in and then falling and then bad things
Might have
happen.
a site plan hidden in the back of this presentation we could look at.
So maybe we can, for next meeting, look
Mhm.
at solar lighting over there and what our options would be. Even if it's like on the back of the steps, just to kind of illuminate it a little bit so people can see where they're going.
Okay.
'Cause
solar lighting wouldn't stay out all night though, right?
It would have a limited capacity
Yeah.
probably.
Mm.
I don't know how many, depending on how much you spend on this. There's some really good solar lights out there now.
Yeah. Well, I
Yeah,
don't,
but
I
at
don't
least
know.
you would capture.
like the core, like if someone's out there 4 a.m, that's not,
then
that's their problem.
Yeah, that's a whole nother issue.
Should be out
Like,
there.
I mean, you can get. I mean, I have solar lights at my house that are,
They
just
go to,
going
like, 2
on
in the
at
morning.
going off at daybreak.
Yeah.
So there's definitely stuff that will hold a charge for
Right.
several hours.
So if we can get some options for next week, that'd be good.
Okay.
I mean, to be clear, there's no electricity running out. I mean, other than for the lighting for the pathways, there's no
Correct.
additional conduit or anything going out there
No.
for.
Has there been any updates on the voltaics, the solar panels?
Yes. So CES has been working on it. I need to get an update. I was planning on giving a full update in October.
Okay.
I was going to do it on the 2nd, but I think that's going to be quite a full meeting.
So maybe like on the 16th.
Couldn't we put a wall pack on the building?
There might be some already.
Yeah.
I have to check. I don't know off the top of my head.
Put a what on the building?
A wall pack on the building that,
Like a spotlight.
yeah,
Oh, that illuminates down
yeah.
from like the stairwell, that B area.
Yeah, maybe.
Hmm.
All right, I'll review it, Richter and Segan.
I mean, there's a path that leads up to it, so at minimum there's going to be that path lighting, right?
Mhm.
Okay. And then logo. So right now the gymnasium, we already settled on the gymnasium floor. That was just going to be the Falcon, right? Just the Falcon. On the wall in the gymnasium and on the back side of the building is the other 2 locations for the logo. 'Cause I don't think we're doing it in the. Are we doing it in the main? We're not doing the main. We're just doing Cromwell Middle School in the main hallway,
There's-
right?
There's just the metal or whatever material it is.
Do you want the
that's-
full list?
But I think the one you're thinking of in the hallway is the one that runs perpendicular to the wall that kind of like comes out.
Yeah, there's a 3D.
And that's just a
Alright.
falcon.
There's a 3D falcon
That's just
above
the
the
falcon, yeah.
above
Yeah.
the
You can't-
auditorium.
But originally we had the logo on the wall as a.
Yes.
But we took that out because we're just gonna put Cromwell Middle School on there, right? We talked about.
On the exterior.
No, on the Main Street wall. On Main Street wall, we originally had the logo on the wall, but we said we're not putting the
Correct.
logo on the wall anymore.
I don't remember.
And
We've talked about this.
I know, okay.
Logos.
So
700 times.
So the
the-
logos, so the back end, the auditorium, the gymnasium,
well, no, so exteriors on the auditorium wall right now, which we had discussed
on the outside,
replacing with just Cromwell Middle School signage.
right, which we decided on,
That's
yeah.
a definite.
Yeah,
Okay.
yes.
Then on the back of the building, there's a portion of the two-story building, basically where I don't have pictures.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I
The
wasn't.
B
I didn't know we were
building.
going to talk about this. I could have had pictures.
That's okay.
So it's basically right. I think it's on this corner, facing the softball field.
Yeah,
So it's the Falcon, CMS, and the claw marks. It does not say Falcons though.
right.
And then same. That was the same with the auditorium. Same design.
Hmm?
And then in the Main Street was the
Faces
same
softball
thing.
field.
And then the 3D Falcon was here. And then and the gym wall into the acoustical panels is the Falcon with CMS only, no claw marks. And then the gym floor, you can see it there, is just the Falcon.
Right, so the
So
Main
that's
Street
all
one,
the locations of logo. In
so
the
we're not
building.
doing the Main Street one anymore.
Okay. Okay.
I think we talked about that, right?
I don't think
Yeah,
we
because you
need
said it was going to be like like the home of the Falcons would
Yeah,
probably
we're
be
gonna
incorporated
use
into the wall
some
graphic.
sort of graphic.
Yeah, we'll talk about that Friday.
Yeah, home
Yeah,
of the
Home of the
Falcons, or
Falcons,
something.
something like that.
But
Words.
we have the Falcon that comes out, so I don't
Yeah.
I don't think we need to have 6 logos in Main Street.
Yeah, yeah,
Right,
Like
we
it's
have
it's
the- we have
overkill.
the one that's
Everyone knows
perpendicular to the
it's
hallway.
Yeah.
messing with Falcons.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. And then in the auditorium then is the only different one on the wall, because we don't have the claw marks on the wall, you're saying.
The
In the gym. I keep
Right.
saying auditorium, in the gymnasium.
Correct.
But can we put them in the gym because it's made of that
we could,
material that
I'm pretty sure we could.
okay. Because I thought last time we talked there was question if
Right.
because of the way it's constructed and
Yeah,
the
I'm not
material.
sure why it wasn't shown with the claw marks there.
Okay.
I'd have to check
The
with
proportion
design
was
team.
off, that was one thing.
Yeah, there's some
Yes.
there's some proportion adjustments that need to be
Right.
made because
On a couple of them.
when we
there were.
put them into the Revit model, we didn't have the actual artwork. We received that from Anne like 2 months ago at this point.
Okay.
So what about the back of the school? Is that staying or
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
So that one's staying. That one's turning to just signage.
Yeah.
It says Cromwell Middle School.
Yep.
Main Street is
Let's say home
will
of the
be
Falcons.
gone, and
yeah.
there'll be Home of the Falcons incorporated into the wall graphic.
Right.
The 3D Falcon stays.
Yep.
The floor logo stays,
Yep.
and then the gym, add the claw marks and proportion it properly.
Right.
Okay.
And then speaking of the gym, another thing we had talked about was the scoreboard. So we're going with a black scoreboard with white digital numbering as opposed to the yellow one, so it pops out more. And then because we're going with the white numbering, the above the score you can actually change what it says, so it can up to 7 digits, right? So you
Yep,
can't say
7
Cromwell,
characters.
but you can say Falcons and guest or away or whatever. Or if it's
You
if
could
it's
say
the travel
CMS
team, you
or-
can write whatever the travel team's thing is, and you can change it up. So whoever's coming to use it.
What's that?
Don't have a center hub?
No. We could do like Barclays and have it offset for hockey. Yes.
I think
The where we put the Cromwell Middle School then on the front exterior of the building, are those kind of like 3D?
Yeah, it would
pop
be
out
a,
type
a,
letters?
it's probably a stainless steel pin mounted letter. The question then becomes, do you want lighting for it? I don't want it. Do you want it to be lit?
Yeah, so you can see it at night.
Okay.
Rosanna, can I just ask you, did you talk to admin about all of those changes? Because that wasn't in the Monday meeting or the last meeting, so I just want to make sure that they are aware of, that the front of the building will say Cromwell Middle School and that all the changes right now.
Probably part of the graphics package, I'm guessing. We'll present
We
it
can
all
talk
to them
about
at
it
once.
on Friday.
Yeah.
I know in our other meeting we talked about changing the Cromwell Middle School because it just said CMS.
And people
So
don't know
when you
what
pull up
C-
to the school, it should really say Cromwell Middle School, not CMS.
So these are things you're still talking about. They're not permanent right now.
The Cromwell Middle School is pretty permanent in the
Yeah.
front of the building because you need to know that's Cromwell Middle School.
But they're aware of it then. At this point, they're aware of it, I'm sure.
I don't know if they're aware of all the
Can we
changes.
just run it by them first before we make it official?
So I have one picture of the exterior. So
That's what I
that's
saw.
what it looks like now.
Yeah.
So we'd be replacing that with saying Cromwell Middle School.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, but that was-
this is the first time hearing that, so I just want to make sure that they're aware of that
Yeah,
as well.
I can send them a note just telling them about the changes happening.
And I thought that was etching, maybe because it's a flat picture. I just assumed that was kind of etched in.
It was
Something.
again. It was like the lettering would be a standoff.
Bossed
Yeah.
out. Okay, yeah. The
Well,
Woodside Intermediate
is-
School was a good one.
And as part of Friday's meeting, correct? I thought that's what I read on
Oh,
something
yes,
somewhere.
we can bring it up then.
So we can go
Oh, there's a
through.
meeting this Friday?
Yeah, the graphics team
Yeah,
is
if
meeting
you
on
can send me
Friday.
a list of everybody that should be invited, then
It's at 4:30, right?
Yes.
I won't be able to attend.
You're fired.
I have a golf lesson I have to get to.
Yes, I can send you a list.
thank you.
I'm thinking as those trees grow, they're gonna block that signage, though.
Yeah. Maybe not put the tree right
Good
there.
call.
Yeah, maybe you should not put the tree
Yeah.
in front of the logo.
Yeah,
Take
get rid
out
of
that middle
tree.
tree. Save us a tree.
Leave it in the forest.
Just, I see in a couple of years that thing's gonna
Save
be
us a couple
covered.
$100.
I will check the site plan to see if there's actually trees there.
Okay.
I mean, actually,
That might have been some rendering artistic license.
Gotcha.
You actually don't think I like trees there because you're gonna hide everything.
I don't think we have trees.
Okay, good. That's good.
Okay.
He was just zhuzhing it up a little bit.
Are you able to put a rendering together to show what it would look like on the building, like how big, like Cromwell Middle School words?
I think we could do that.
Yeah, just to see like proportionally how big it's gonna be. I keep thinking about my old elementary school. The letters are like this big. It's so hard to see. Okay.
Well, the CMS looks, that looks pretty substantial.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's fairly large, that
Yeah.
logo.
There's certainly enough room on the front.
I stand corrected. There are trees.
There are trees?
Chris is checking.
All right, well,
Deciduous.
That was everything.
that was everything on my list. Thank you. Okay, anyone have anything else? Oh, looking for trees. We can find out later. It's fine too. Chris, did you have an update for today? Video, Steve?
Do we have the video, Steve?
My favorite part.
So I'm going to start with a video, and then we'll talk a little bit about schedule, and then hand it over to Ron, and then we'll get into the financial aspect of things.
Yeah.
917, please. All right, so this is the Board of Ed area right here. You can see the separation between the Board of Ed building, and this would be your mechanical area right now. You'll see that we're doing CMU exterior walls here, starting to fit out along here. This is your kitchen area. Kitchen is right here, offices space here, and this is the cafeteria here. This starts the portion of B building. And you can see that we got the curbs for the rooftop units in up here now. We're working on getting all the mechanicals set. Your building has been sheathed, obviously both floors in the B section. They're talking about, well, we're getting ready to start detailing for AVB next week. And within the next probably 2 weeks, we're going to start spraying the building down so that we can prepare for masonry veneer starting. There's the completion of your B stair tower right here. It's going to be a huge window in this area. That's obviously hallway upper and lower with the breakout spaces. You have a nice window here as well. This doesn't show it today, but today we placed all the remaining columns. Tomorrow they'll hang all the steel like this here, and the erection process of this project will be pretty darn done. They're gonna roll through the decking within the auditorium here, the Main Street section, and then admin and the rest of A. That will be next week. And then in the gym, you can't really see it well here, but in the gym, we're starting to form out all of the walls of the gym right now. They're starting to come up. They're almost at the level of where this deck would be right here on the north side here. I went down a little further here. Sorry for the disruption, but I wanted to get a little closer so you could actually see the masonry. And
You started any interior partitions yet?
yes, we've started interior framing for both masonry and metal stud. So as far as masonry is concerned, we're focused primarily in the C building around the mechanical spaces so that we can start fitting those areas out with permanent services. Getting them weather tight for the winter so that we can continue to progress through the interior finishes of the project. So there's your stair tower. That brings you to all the floors right now. They're actually going to be coming within the next, I'd say, first part of October to bring the first B area, B staircase for the end of the building right here that I'm coming around to right here. That stair will be here early in October.
Can you pause? Are you able to pause it for a second?
I don't have that capability right here.
Oh, right there. Oh man. So question.
Yes.
The vertical, that's a window over there on the right?
Yes. This is and this is right here.
And the stairwell's in there?
Yes.
So is there going to be a gap between the stairwell and that wall? Because that was one of the things that we had a problem with originally, remember?
I think that was North Haven.
Stuff was falling down between the stairwell.
Gap between the stringer
In the wall.
There shouldn't be.
No, I think it comes.
Oh,
I think it.
No.
I think
no.
it comes up on the outside. You have a landing right about where the windows would be there, and then it goes up from there.
Right,
So the stairs are flush to the wall.
correct.
Okay.
Yeah, so the stair on the wall would be coming up this way, right on that wall right there, and then it would loop around right here on a landing, and then come up on the inside wall. If I'm
So
not
they'd be right
mistaken.
against the window? Is there a window right there? Aren't the stairs like against that window or no?
The stairs are against that bottom.
No, that's a landing.
Diagonal but below.
Okay. I get you now.
I'm verifying right now. Give me one moment.
Okay. They come
Are
in
you
from the
thinking
outside.
from the window view? If you're looking from the outside, would you see like
thought
the
the stairs
the
were-
handrail? Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, I
You
thought
would
the
maybe
s-
see a handrail.
I thought the stairs were against the window, in which case that'd be bad. But they're on the opposite side.
No, so the landing,
They come up against, and then there's a landing that comes up the other way.
there's a landing that starts right here and
Yeah.
comes across and then goes over and then goes up the
Yeah.
inside wall.
Perfect. Okay, I'm good.
Go ahead. Yeah, sure. I had to speed up. I was running out of battery juice. Sorry, I apologize. But I did want to. There's your sign beams right here.
Nice.
Those will be visible for quite a while too. So, not too long, but.
I should add, the PTO donated a banner too to hang on the beam, so Chris agreed to put that up on the beam, so that'll go
Nice.
up soon too.
Yeah. So, when we get into talking about schedule, like I said, right now on the interior of the building, we're installing hangers for all mechanical, electrical, plumbing, fire protection. Those hangers and all that infrastructure are being installed throughout all of B building, both first and second floor right now. We're getting ready on the 30th. Actually, I take that back. On the 23rd, we're going to start the roof on the B building.
Can you just talk a little bit into your mic, Chris? Thanks.
Yeah, on the 23rd, we're going to start doing roofing on the B building. We're going to start at the high roof, hopefully get that done within a week, week and a half. Then we can start looking at doing tops of wall gypsum board on the inside of B building, first and second floor, as well as ductwork installation. So those things are coming up on the horizon here. Within C building, we're going to continue the CMU work at the gym area. We're going to finish the gym area, then we'll move over to the auditorium. Right now, we're also focusing on exterior walls. We're trying our hardest to get weather tight by November 1st.
I was just about to ask that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's our goal right now. That's what we're pushing right now. So, barring any catastrophe, we're heading in that direction. It's a big deal for us to get that roof done within the next week, week and a half, starting on the 23rd, because that will free up a lot of work for trades that come after, finishes, all those kinds of things. I know that our aluminum is coming into the shop, and it will start being fabricated raw stock at the end of October. So we should be seeing some of that stuff starting within the first half of November. Like I said earlier, we're going to start in the courtyard, most likely on the east elevation of the courtyard, which would be the media center wall, with our brick veneer, and we're going to start moving to the north and then to the west along B building and come around that way to the north. And hopefully that will give us enough time to get the framing all the way up to A building for the sheathing, and then obviously brick veneer over in that area. So the idea behind that whole brick veneer is to get out of the courtyard area, allow us time for doing flat work within that area. I guess I'll leave you guys to tell me, do you have any questions? Right now we're on schedule. Everything's looking fine. Our material shipments have been arriving. We've taken a lot. You guys were wise in accepting stored materials because they've been arriving on the site in timely manners. So things are pretty well on our supply chain right now. So
What are our long lead items, and do you know if they're still on target?
a lot of what we were tracking, and actually I reported this today, the electrical gear that we bought as part of the early procurement phase, I'd say 97% of it is already in storage at Dyson's shop right now.
Nice.
The only piece that's missing right now, which we thought was going to be out in April, is actually the main switch panel. So it would be MSB1. That's where all of your power comes into. And that's actually, for what it's worth, it's showing in mid-January getting here, which will actually allow us to do a larger significant portion of that work,
Awesome.
give us more time to shake it out,
Chris, is that roof an 090 or an 060 gauge? Do you remember that? Because I asked that before. I'm not sure.
Without
Favorite phone.
looking at it, I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. I know that it is a TPO product.
Yeah. Oh, it's TPO.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, even better.
I think
Okay.
you do have EPDM, but that's on your canopies.
Can I just ask a clarifying question for in the August in the report? I mean, this isn't every report, but the new building substantial completion date is projected to complete August 18th. How does that? Can you define that for us in terms of like CO/when furniture comes in? I'm just starting to think through like first day of school, what that might look like. So like that substantial completion date, that's like when we get certificate of occupancy and then we start furniture.
At that point, we've gone through all life safety systems with the authorities having jurisdiction, and we feel comfortable enough to tell you, and we have sign off from the AHJ saying that we can allow general public into the building.
Okay, so furniture happens before that or after that date?
We've typically allowed time for the furniture to be
Okay.
in before that,
Okay.
and that's part of the process.
Okay.
They're quote unquote workers as well. They're not seen as quote unquote general public.
Okay, great. Thank you for clarifying.
Yep.
When do you anticipate the gas tie-in?
They told us October, so right now we're waiting for them to hone in on that date, but it's coming in October, from what I'm understanding.
Okay. Any other questions for Chris? All right, Ron, did you have stuff?
Yes, sorry about that. The consultants, SES, has been on site looking at the building envelope at this point. Earlier this week, we also held the kickoff commissioning portion of the meeting. We had all the mechanical, electrical trades, et cetera, all the folks that are going to be part of the commissioning piece. So, I think we had just about 100% participation on that, right?
Yeah, all notable contractors and subcontractors were at the meeting. I thought it was a pretty productive meeting personally. So
Tri-State Materials has been on site pretty much daily, going through concrete placement, rebar inspections, and now they're in there actually looking at some of the structural steel connections and welds and what have you. And those reports are being shipped off to the design team and our special inspector, which is Sheswick, Kilty, and Fleur. They've been on site looking at different aspects, and they've been looking at the reports, and nothing has been jumping out. But Friedman, who's doing our stormwater management plan after every rain event, and they're out pretty much every week, and there's been no issues with that. So.
yeah, and just a follow up to that, there is no longer any lines going off site or bags in the farmer's field or anything like that. That's all been cleaned up, and that's a non-issue now.
And finally, talking with the Cromwell building officials and the water and sewer have been out, and they've been pleased with everything that's been going on. So.
Yeah, and if you were wondering why the water was in the pond the other day, but it wasn't there the day before, and there was no rain event, it was because we were flushing the hydrant on the north side of the building, and all the water that came out of that hydrant went directly into that pond.
Did we remove the what was it called, like the silt and stuff that was in the pond?
No, we haven't done that yet because it hasn't warranted us needing to do it.
Okay.
It will be done in your permanent
final state,
situation.
yeah. Okay.
So overall, the site's been cleaned. The building, daily they're in there doing their sweeping and cleaning and what have you. Mathers is prepping to move off-site because they've done their connections and laid their pipes, both sanitaries, water, drains, tied a lot of drains in, but we have a lot of clean outs for the sanitaries, water gates, fire hydrants, So they've actually put Jersey barriers and other barricades up so that somebody doesn't run them over on us. So, so they're already thinking of that. Along the Park Road, we did notice that it was getting a little ruddy along the edge where the trucks were catching that little grass strip. So, Newfield and Mathers looked at it, and they took care of that. So we put some processed gravel in there until the construction's over, and then they'll dig that back out and put grass in. So it's keeping the whole area clean, and you're not having the ruts. But overall, they're doing a really good job keeping the place orderly, and contractors are also being respectful for taking care of their own work.
Trying. We have good morale on the job site right now.
Oh, good.
We're moving.
Yeah, the CMS dash Arcadis dash report 918.
That's the one.
There we go. Okay, we looked at the, we've heard the project updates. We have 2-week look ahead. We've seen the video. We'll get to our financials shortly. Chris touched on the preponderance of these construction items. Anything else you want to update?
No, I hit on every single one of those.
Design progress, we've talked about the submittals. Well, submittals are continuing. Requests for information's been flowing through. Talked about the commissioning and all the FF&E issues. Prepping for the roof activities and working towards weather tightness. When we say by November, that's with temporary closures on the windows, and then we'll progressively get windows moving forward through November?
To me, that means roof primarily, working through getting the windows temped in, all that stuff. Yes, because masonry is obviously going as well as framing and sheathing. It's all going to be an assembly coming together. Yes.
For the financials, my eyes are old, so I will do paper. For the middle school, we've got a current unencumbered amount of about $8.4 million. We've received almost $3 million in reimbursements from the state so far. We've paid out about $10.5 million to date. For central admin, we've paid out about $750,000. We have unencumbered about just short of $900,000. That includes contingency, FF&E technology. And due to the small size of the central admin project, we only have a limited number of drawdowns we can make against that grant. So we've received $0 against that to date. As to the budgets, no significant changes in the budgets in the last month cycle. For owner contingencies, we're sitting at a 3.38 million owner's contingency at the middle school. We have about 188,000 in owner's contingency at central admin. What am I looking at here? Oh, that was the revised. Now, with our transactions, we're now at 2.6 million for the middle school and 167,000. Again, that slight overage on the technology on central admin, can easily be accommodated in this remaining owner's contingency. The report that was sent to you has all the individual transactions of what's been put into and taken out of owner's contingency and where it went. Same thing for central admin. We have one change order for record only tonight. This is handled by the change order committee. The net value with credits is $60,548.10. And we ask that the building committee affirms the change order committee's approval of what is known as change order number 7 to Newfield. Again, the value of that is $60,584.10. If we could have a motion, please.
Wait a minute. What's the excess unsuitable soil removal? There's excess, like beyond what we had originally?
That was the,
Why is it 60,000?
that was the,
Am I reading that right?
the soil that was stockpiled, Chris, or what is that? You want to explain that in particular?
So when we got into the west portion of the A and B building areas, and that was beyond the fence line of where the soil boring was taken on the east side in that soccer field and all that.
Mm-hmm.
On the other side of that, within that fence line, there were no borings, so we didn't know what the soil content was over there. What ended up happening was you had the test reports from the geotech, and they had indicated, where your quote unquote undisturbed virgin ground was supposed to be, and that's where we were supposed to place the footings of the building, right? So when we got into that area that was beyond the fence line, into that area that was almost marshy, that undisturbed virgin soil layer actually varied from what we actually thought it would be. And then on top of that, TSMT in conjunction with the rest of the team all got together and formed criteria for which we ended up having to take additional soils out of that area of the building because we wouldn't have been able to bear on them.
So, where's the cost for the material that got brought in? Or did we already cover that in a prior CO?
No, there was no.
Didn't we have to bring stuff in?
Was that one of the areas where you were bringing in stone, or this is?
No, this
above
is
and beyond?
independent of that. This is to pull out stuff that we couldn't use.
Yeah, but didn't you have to put stuff back in that you could use?
Yes, we did, and that was all. That was part of the process as well.
So the 62,000 is all inclusive of?
Yes, it's a unit price off of, I believe it was $108 a ton or cubic yard, and there was calculations of square yardage and footage and.
Because I thought there was an allowance that we already approved.
Yes, this is in excess of those allowances.
The allowance we approved before, I thought, was assuming that you had like a large area that you had to bring
We had
stone in for.
two issues. One was stone at bottom of footing,
Yeah.
which you'll see had a reconciliation. We had a not to exceed number on that. I believe it was like $48,000.
Yeah.
That was one item. This is a completely separate issue that we were dealing with at the west side of the A and B buildings.
So this is to remove the unsuitable soil and also bring in rock or whatever it is that you put in there. That 60,000. It's
No,
not
this-
just removal.
This is, without having it right in front of me, and if you give me a moment, I can circle back to it. I believe this is just the removal.
Will there be another change order for?
No,
import?
no, this settles the issue.
Settles the issue.
Okay. So we're not going to see another change order.
This
for
settles,
stone.
no, this settles the issue. You are out of subgrade and having issues with any subgrade issues within the A and B building now.
Seems like a lot of money. Oof.
It was quite a few thousand yards.
Oh, yeah.
And we independently verified that through Joe and the design team.
Okay.
We had cut plans. We did the whole 9 yards. There was a very lengthy vetting process. That number had started at $100,000, and that's where we ended up at.
Okay. All right.
So just to verify those numbers, when I asked Newfield to verify them, we sent them back over to the civil and the geotech, and they actually ran their estimates off of the GPS and the cross sections, and I think they came in with the delta within like 10 or 12 cubic yards.
Yes, exactly. It was right on.
It was really close.
And that's through the process of using the GPS and plotting the actual depth of where we could finally assume was bottom and work from.
Okay. All right. Are any questions? If not, take a motion to approve.
So moved.
There's a second.
Second.
All right. All in favor to approve that amount that's on the screen because I can't see it from here?
$60,548.10.
Thank you. Say aye. Aye. Anyone opposing? Anyone abstaining? Motion carries.
Okay, next we have invoices for approval tonight. We have Arcadis invoice for August. We have material testing services, and I wish I could get them to send us a statement rather than all these individual invoices, but we're working on that. We have architectural services for Perkins through the month of August, and the 2 construction requisitions for Newfield, both for the middle school as well as central admin. Total value tonight, $2,768,541.14, and we ask your approval.
All right. I'll take a motion to approve the invoice total of $2,768,541.14.
So moved.
There's a second.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, say nay. Anyone abstaining? Motion carries.
And
Anything else?
that's it for our report. Thank you.
All right. Anyone else have any comments, updates, announcements that they want to bring up?
I just want to clarify, so we don't have a meeting next week?
We do not have a
Correct.
meeting. We have our regular meeting on October 2nd.
Okay, so okay.
And we're going to invite the Board of Ed to the October 2nd meeting to talk FF&E.
Okay. But the steel completion ceremony is still the 25th, guys.
It's
4
still the
o'clock.
25th at 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yes, we're just not following up with anything. Okay, I'll be rushing to a soccer game after that. Senior night's Friday. All right, meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Though I think they're moving it because of weather.